Hello everyone, is my screen visible? Okay, so today we are going to start with our session number 13, and this is going to be on routing, how you perform routing in a Angular application. Alright, so we have covered almost half of our course. So 12 sessions are gone and remaining 12 sessions will be starting today. Okay, yeah. So our session will be on routing and navigation. Okay, so if I tell you, as you know that Angular applications are single page applications, right? So what happens, let's suppose you are having some links, right? You are having on the top some navigation bar is there, and on click of those navigation bars you want to show different HTML views to the user, right? So in those cases, how will you display the pages, or how will you route from one component to another component, or from one view to another view? That is what will be handled, or is handled by the routing mechanism in Angular 2. All right. Since in a single page application also there are multiple pages, right? Not only one page, there are multiple HTML files which we call as templates, right? So to navigate among those templates, or to render one template and then the other template, for this to be achieved, you need the routing mechanism. Okay. So first of all, what you have one tag called as base. Okay. So whenever you create your Angular application, you are in your index.html, you will see one tag called as base tag. Okay. So this base tag has some significance. It says, it tells that what is the context of your app. Okay. So this base tag is nothing but it just tells the context of your app. So that means after the name of your, let's suppose localhost colon 4200, right? After that there is a slash always. Okay, if I show you here, okay, you can see that there is a kind of a slash here after the 4200. After the slash only you will be writing something. Okay, so this is nothing but this base. Okay, so this basically base tag refers to your application context. Okay, so when you will be typing something else, or whenever you will be navigating to some other page, then what you will be having, is some slash. Let's suppose home page is there. In that case you will be having slash home. Okay, if there is some about component about us, then you will be having one slash about page. If you are having a contact us page, then you will be having something like contact. Okay, so this is just simple base tag which every Angular 2 application is having. All right, so let me tell you what all we are going to cover today. So let me create a text document, and we will be looking at routing. All right, so in routing, first of all we will talk about routing and navigation. Okay, let's not divide it. I'll just keep on telling everything under one topic only, which is routing. Okay, and after the routing is completed, then we will cover small topic which is about the life cycle hooks. Okay, but among life cycle hooks as well, I will tell only two functions: on init and on destroy. Okay, So our major focus or major chunk will be on the routing, and last we will look at only two functions of lifecycle host, init and destroy. Okay. Yeah. So let's proceed. So this PPT, or as you know that we do not follow the PPTs in few sessions because the content which is given in it is a little bit older. Okay, so now in the latest versions of Angular, Angular is following some other concepts and some other syntax. Okay, so that is why we will not follow the PPT again, and we will more focus on the actual content which is present right now, or the actual syntax which is currently going on Angular 2. Okay, so let's start. So what do we want to achieve? We want to achieve something like this. Okay, so you are having one link and there is another link. All right, and on click of these buttons, you want to show some data to the user. Okay, on click of this home, you want to show some other page. On click of about us, you will be showing some other page here, right? Currently our page will only have very less HTML. Tomorrow it can have whole bunch of images, links and everything. Okay, but our main focus is on how we will achieve the routing in Angular 2. Okay, so let's see. First of all, what we do, we will create one file which is app.routes.ts. Okay, you can name it anything, but I just to make it relevant with our root component, I am making it app.routes.ts. Okay, so this file you can just create manually. No need to create it via Angular CLI. Okay, then what you see in it is lot of stuff, right? So I will tell you each and everything one by one. Okay, so from the basics, if I tell you that Angular is having a separate module, it is having a separate module to handle the routing mechanism. Okay, and what is the name of that module? Its name is router. Okay, or we will say @Angular/router. All right, so this is the module which is there for creating the router. Okay, so Angular has created one separate module, or it has as you know, every big company or every big framework is actually modularized. So similarly, Angular is also having the modularized structure. So that is why they created another module which completely manages the routing mechanism. Okay, so that is Angular/router. All right, then what we have in Angular/router, we have two things which is of major use for us, and that is, first one is router module and second one is route. Okay, so what is route? Route is nothing but a type. Okay, so of what is it? So what type? Route takes basically a array of objects. Okay, what route takes? Route takes an array of objects, and what that object contains? It contains the configuration of our components and the path. Okay, we will see and I will explain you how we will configure this. Okay, then when you have created your routes, okay, via this route, what you do, you call one function on this router module to configure those routes for our application. Okay, how? I will tell you. Okay, so basically route, what it will give you, you will be creating a array of routes. Okay, using the route, and then using router modules function called as for route. Okay, so for route is a function using which you will be actually creating your or configuring your routes. Okay, so don't get confused. I'll explain both of these now. Okay, so let me just comment this out and let's look at this our file. Okay, all right. So what I have done before telling about the routes, what I have done, I have created two components already. Okay, so how we create the components? Just by simply writing ng generate component and name of the component. So that is why, that is the same way I have created two of the components in our existing application, and its names are header, sorry, about and home. Okay, because I want to mimic the functionality, right, of having a application, and on top of that application you are having some buttons. On click of those buttons, what do you want? You want to show some different HTML pages. Okay, so for each of them I have created a separate component. That is what you can see in the left navigation or in the folder structure. About is there and home is there. Okay, let's see. Okay, I have few questions on the chat. How to create routes via Angular CLI? You need not to create routes via Angular CLI. Okay, so I don't think it is possible even that to create, or it may be possible, but we never create routes via Angular CLI because it's just a file which is containing some array which will be exported. Okay, I will explain that. And yeah, for each page I have created a separate component. Yes. Okay, not every link will not be a component, but on click of one of the links a complete component will be loaded. Okay, so those links or those buttons will be in one page, which is our app only. Okay, so this app.component.html is having these buttons, these links. Okay, these can be any number of links, but on click of those we will be loading our components. Okay, so let's see. Let's understand this app.routes.ts file. Okay, so what is written here? Let's go look at first line. So first line says I am importing router module and route from Angular/router, right? As I told, router is the separate module which basically does have all the stuff of routing. So that is what I have done at line number 1. Okay, so we have imported two things: router module, which I was telling, whose function we will be using to create the routes, and then one route type. Okay, so as I can create an array of routes. Okay, after that, 3 simple imports. You guys probably understand very well. 3 components: app component and about component and home component. Okay, so this app component we don't need, even we can remove app component from here. Okay, then what I have done, I have created one constant of routes. Okay, so this is nothing but a constant of routes. All right, and it is of type what? It is of type route array. Okay, so route array means it is going to follow the signature of route, right? So each one of these is a route object. Okay, so if we look at internal implementation of a route, it contains two properties called as path and component. Okay, let's understand each of this property. What does the path says? Path is what? If you look at in your browser, whatever is after the website name or the domain name, whatever is there, like if you say about, okay, this is what? This is nothing but as called as path. Okay, so that is what we are telling here, that whenever in browser you see path like home, okay, if at any point of time in your browser path is /home like this, path is home, then load this component. What is the name of component? Home component. Okay, similarly the third one, it says if at any point of time you see the path is /about, then load which component? Load the about component. Okay, and what does this first one says? This first one says that if there is nothing in the path, that means the this application like this in this state. Okay, in this case what to do? Okay, or the default, then also I am telling load the home component, or we can ignore the first case as well. Okay, we may want that none of the component to be loaded, then you can easily skip the line number 6 if you do not want to load any component initially. If you want to load, then you can just write in this. Okay, now what we have done, we have just created one constant routes array. Okay, and it is an array of objects, right? Now comes the next thing, which is again a constant routes provider. This routes provider is nothing but our user defined property only. You can take any name. Then what I have given to this route provider, I have written router module, right? This router module dot for route. So dot for route is nothing but a function. You can just remember its name. And what it takes that complete array of routes, right? It takes the complete array of routes. Okay, and this is going to return us the routes provider complete configurable. Okay, which is totally configured for our application. Okay, so to router module you will be passing an array of routes. Simple. So once you have done this, you have done the step number 1. Okay, after that what you need to do, you need to also do some stuff in your app.module.ts. okay, this file. In this file you will be writing like this: import this routes provider. What is this route provider? This routes provider is nothing but this. Why we exported this route provider? Because we have to import it in our app.module.ts file. That is why I am importing here import routes provider from /app.routes. Okay, now here what we do, we basically do the module level configurations. Okay, so same thing we will do here. We will mention whatever route provider is returning, we have to mention it into the imports. Okay, you can see here I have mentioned the routes provider here as well, because routes provider is a separate module, right? Just like we imported forms module, similarly we have included the routes provider as well, right? So we got the route provider. So now our application is basically configured to these 3 routes. Okay, so that means now our application will behave or will work like this. If path is /about, then it will load the about component. If path is home, it will load the home component. Okay, now I will tell you how and where we will load these components. Okay,
how that routes provider became a module?
where? No, it's not become
We have
actually
done
module. It is not becoming actually module, but it is something which is returned by a module.
In
Okay.
the imports, we had put that module, one more module as a routes provider, right? In the ng module in the imports.
Yeah, here.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's not we do not mention only the modules here. We've mentioned the stuff like providers as well here.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Providers. The next tab is providers only, right? The next.
This
What
one,
is the significance of mentioning here?
this is the actual, you can say, the dependency injection. This is the, if you, this is a final step. Okay. So this is a main step which you need to do actually to use it. If you will not use it, you will not be able to basically, you have done the configuration from here. Okay.
Okay.
This is a kind of configuration file. Now you have
Okay.
to tell that our module or our application has to use this configuration.
Okay.
That is what you tell here, that use this configuration as well.
Okay.
Okay, this name might be confusing you that I have used a provider in the name, but as I told you can take any name here because it is user defined name,
Okay.
right? It is a constant, just like a let or where. It is a constant, simple. All right. Yeah. Now let's see how we are going to use it, or how we are going to call these file, and we will be actually executing the routes. All right. So let's see our app.component.html. Okay. In our HTML file, what we have done, we have created a unordered list, and in list I am having two anchor tags, right? So what this anchor tag does, anchor tag is what? Anchor tag is nothing but it is for the links, right? You can click on them and you can navigate to somewhere. That is why you use anchor tag, right? Now actually anchor tag is having one property called as hyperreference, href. Okay, so here you will not be using that because it is not plain HTML, it is Angular. So instead of that href, you will be using one directive called as router link. Okay, what is router link? Router link is nothing but a attribute directive given by Angular to which you can pass the path. Okay, so this says if you click on this anchor tag, this text about us, then where it will take you? It will take you to this router link, which is /about. Similarly, if you click on this home, it will take you to the /home. Okay, so basically this will become the path of your browser. If you will click on these buttons, okay, if I click on this like about us, you can see it has, our path has changed. It is now /about. Okay, so this is the significance of using router link. Router link is a directive. It is an inbuilt directive given by Angular to which you will be passing the path which you want to show on click of this add anchor tag. Okay, so for now we have created these buttons or these links on click of which you will be loading the components. Okay, but now you have to see where you will be loading the actual content. Okay, if I show you via paint to make it more understanding. Okay, so what you have just done, you have created the some buttons on the top like this. Maybe you are having some home here. Okay, then you are having about us here, and then you maybe have some other components, maybe contact us. Okay, now what are these are buttons, or not the buttons, actually the anchor links. Okay, but you want to tell that on click of this home you want to load this component. Okay, that you have already told from here. if path is home, you want to load the home component, right? If path is about, you want to load the about component. But you have to tell where the actual content of those components will be loaded, right? Actual content means the actual HTML of that. Okay. Now, if you will click on this home, you want to show the content here. If you want to click on this about us, you want to show, replace the content of home, and then you have to load the content of about us here. Okay. If you will click on the contact us, content of contact component will be replaced here, right? That is the actual significance of a single page application, right? And that is the what you will be achieving by using the routes. Okay. So to show this content, or I tell you, to make this box, okay, to make this actual area, what you need to do, you need to work, or you need to use one more directive of Angular. What is that directive? That directive is router hyphen outlet. Okay. So by writing this, you are actually telling that whenever you click on this anchor tag, you will be loading the home component, and whatever the content of home component is there, that will be loaded inside this router outlet. This is the placeholder where the HTML of home component will be rendered. If you will click on about us component, then about us.html will be rendered inside this. Okay. So you have to remember these two things: router link to make the actual routes, and router outlet to basically get the actual HTML content of that particular component. All right. Now let's see. Remaining is pretty simple. What we have in about component, in about component.html, I am just having some about works, simple text, right? And let's see in our home component. In home component, we are having some homeworks, and then I just created this. Let's remove this. We don't need this. Okay. Tomorrow you can have a hell lot of stuff inside these files, in both of these files. Okay, because they will be containing your images, content, links, and everything, whatever you want. Okay. For now, I am making it simple. Just set text. Okay. Let's save this and see now. I go here and I just open this. Okay. So what is this? These home and about us. This home and about is nothing but these links on the top. Okay. And then we need this area. This area is nothing but this homeworks. Okay. This is the actual area which I kept to show the content of that component. Okay. Now you can see even without any path here, it is showing homeworks. Why? Because while configuring my routes here, I told that even if path is undefined or when there is no path, load the home component only. Okay. So if you do not want that, you can just comment this out. Then what will happen? It will not load any component here inside the router outlet. You can see initially nothing is printed. When it will be printed? It will be printed when you will click on this home. Let's click on this. You can see path got changed. It is /home now, and what is loaded here? It is containing the content of home.html. Now if I will click on second component or the second link about us, what will be doing? It will be loading the about component. Let's click on this. As soon as I click on this, you can see the path got changed to /about, and also the content is replaced with the about.html. Okay. So you can see how seamless it works. Just click on this one, that one is loaded. If you click on about is loaded, right? There is no refresh of page at any point of time. Similarly, you can have n number of tabs on the top or on the left hand side. You can just click on them and just show or hide or just replace the content which you want to show. Okay, so this is a simple example of routing in Angular 2. Okay, so how you do routing in Angular 2, how it is the routes, how you configure the routes, what is router link and what is router outlet. Okay, and that is why most of the applications or the web applications or mobile applications, they are moving towards Angular because it is so seamless to use Angular 2, right? There is no lag here. Okay, so if you see, if you click on this and click on this, it just works, right? There is no lag or there is no refresh of the page. There is nothing. It's that easy. Okay. Okay, I got a question. So should we create each component in Angular CLI for each link? Yes. If they are logically separated, then you should. Okay. Because that will make your code more modularized. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now let's move on and see one more thing, which is passing the arguments to the or what we can do is, before going to passing the arguments, first let me tell you how you can achieve the same functionality from the buttons. Okay. Okay, I got few questions again. There is two things. Link is open in the main section, link is open in the new page. How to do that? What is the meaning of link is open in new page means? You are telling about the new tab. Means if you click on this, a new tab of the window will open. Is that? Namita, I can't listen to you if in case you are speaking. I didn't get the second part. Uh, link is open in a new page. New page, you want to say like a new tab. If we have like this, you want to say this tab, a newer one, or how is it? Yes, in simple HTML, we open a new HTML, right? So what happens in that case? The whole screen is refreshed. Okay, if you remember in our very first session, what we told that in Angular applications, only the data travels after the interactions. Okay, there is no reload of the page and there is no loading of the HTML from or the passing of HTML from server to the client. It's always the data which is traveling. That is why you never load a new HTML page. You just load a template in some place. And what is that place? That place is nothing but router outlet. This area. Okay. Yeah. Manjeshwar, these home and about us both are not, these links are not in different pages. They are in our app.html. If I show you in our app.component.html, it's there. Links are here. Okay, but on click of them, we are loading different pages in our router outlet. Okay, so what is router outlet? Router outlet is the placeholder for the HTMLs of these components, home component and about component. Okay, this is a placeholder which will contain the HTML content. Okay,
How does router outlet know that it has to show in that particular area only? I mean, where do we mention?
sorry.
How does the router outlet knows that it has to display the second page in this particular location or the first page in this particular location?
It's the inbuilt functionality. You router link and router outlet both are interlinked.
Okay. So what if we want like the first page on the left side, on the second page, when you load it should be on the right side or something? Can we mention that? Or inside the component, we have to mention the which side it has to.
That is something you're talking about, the styling, right?
Yeah.
So that styling we can do via CSS or something.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So Monica is asking a question that app.component.html is the main page. Yes, it is the main page or the root page, which should contain all the links. Yes, according to our application structure for now, this should contain our all the links. Okay, so this is kind of a master page, right? Which is containing the all navigations from where you can go anywhere.
Means
That is why,
app.component.html acts as the index.html in a normal HTML project.
sorry, I didn't get you.
Normally, when we create a HTML project without any Angular, index.html will be the parent page wherein from there the application execution starts, right?
Yes.
In that way, app.component.html acts like a index.html here.
No, here also if you see that index.html is only the master page here. Okay, this is the one which is the master. But inside this, we are having a component, app root, right? This app root is nothing but our app component.
Okay.
Okay, so you can see it like index.html is at the topmost anyways. Okay, but as Angular is totally component based, so we created one root component inside this. Okay.
Got it. Yes.
Okay, so I tell you the flow again, just to make it more so that you can understand it better. So what is our index.html? Index.html is anyways the first page to get loaded when the application will run. Okay, but only index.html cannot do anything in Angular 2. It is the components which basically works. All right. So to make it little structured, what we do, we create a app root component. Okay, this app root is what? If I show you via paint, what is app root? App root is nothing but a container. Okay, just like this, which I am drawing outside, like this. Okay, so if you look at that white page in the very background, that white page is nothing but index.html. Okay, if I color it, if I color it maybe via black or some other color, if we take blue. Okay, so what is this blue? The main main page. That is what the index.html is complete. Okay, it is not filling everywhere. Okay, if I see this, say everything is nothing but index.html. All right, but what happened? Let me paint it again. Oops, let me control Z. Yes. Then, as I told, Angular works on the basis of components, right? So what we did we created one root component, app component, right? And app component is nothing but this one. Okay, so this is your blue one, is your app component. All right, now inside this you created several components. First one is home component, second is about us component, third one is contact us component. Okay, whose HTMLs will be getting loaded into this gray area. This gray area is what? This is the router outlet. Okay, so what you can do is you can skip it as well. Okay, even if you do not want to create this blue one, you can skip it. In that case, what you will be having, you will be listing down all your components here. Okay, you will be listing all your components in index.html only. Okay, but in this case you will lose the functionality, or you will lose the structuredness, right? So because basically you will not be having one complete container, right? There will be no root of your application. There will be no root component. Okay, so it is always advisable to have a root component, so that once that is initialized, after that you do some stuff. Okay, Namita is asking a question. Router outlet may be inside other component like main section, footer section, etc. Yes, you can have router outlet in other components as well, no problem in that. But only thing is, when you create a router outlet, when you want to show the actual content, right? Actual content is the major one. Okay, that is why you create like this. Okay. What is happening? I can hear a lot of keystrokes. Namita, you will not be having multiple router outlets because that doesn't make sense. Right? If you look at this application only, right? What will you do by creating multiple router outlet? If you click on home page should be shown. If you click on about us details should be shown here. If you click on contact us, email ID, phone number, that should be shown here, right? Yeah.
Just a small doubt here, Rachit.
Mm-hmm.
We are using router outlet for the content, right? Actual content.
Yes.
So normally we have a home.component.html and about component.html files as well.
Yes, we do have here.
If we wanted to divide the screen into some sections or classes, we need to use those bootstrap classes in those HTML files instead of using in the router outlet. Am I correct?
You will be having a separate CSS files for that, right? Each component is having their own separate CSS file. There will be mentioning their CSS.
Okay, okay. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So where were we? I was telling about the, yeah. So what we have done till now, we have done this routing on the click of a anchor tag, right? Now let's suppose you want to navigate to other routes by other means, right? What is the meaning of other means? Let's suppose you are having some login functionality, right? You are on the login page, and when you click on the button, you are having some email ID, you are having one password. Okay, on click of the login button, if the login is successful, then you want to take the user to other page. Otherwise, you do not want to show the actual page, right? You want to show some message, maybe username and password is incorrect. Then how will you do this? Okay, so for that, what we will do, let me create one button, which maybe I will mimic the login button. Okay, so I will say login, and I will say on click of this button, I am having some go to other route. Okay, on click of this button, I want to take the user to call this function, go to other route, right? So where it will be inside app.component.ts. Okay, it is here only. Go to other route. Okay, on click of this button, how can we route the user? Okay, so for that, what we have one class called as router. Okay, so we have to first import it, router from Angular/router, and then we have to just instantiate it in our constructor. Okay, so once we got the object of this router, what we have one function called as navigate. Okay, so we have this navigate function. So what we can write this dot router dot navigate. What it will do, it will take the array, okay, in which your first entry will be what? It will be the actual path which you want to follow, or where you want to go. Okay, so that means instead of writing just like this router link, this is the routing. Okay, and what is this? This is the navigation. Okay, you want to navigate the user from one screen to another screen. This is how you will do it, by writing this dot router, right? This dot router is nothing but an object of router class, and then we can call its function called as navigate, which will help you to navigate to another route. Okay, let's save this. I will show you in the output. I go here. So I got this login button. Okay, it's refreshing. Yes. So you can see, let me just remove this for now. So once we got this login button, right, where we are telling it to go to about page, right? So once I will click on this login button, it will call the about us, or you can say the about component will get loaded. I just click on this. You can see as soon as I click on this, about works is calling, and you can see it, you are navigated to about page. All right, so this is very simple how you navigate from one page to another page.
See, when we clicked on about, what if we didn't wanted that login to come, because login was the part of home page.
Sorry,
So login was part of home page, right? And then when I clicked on about us, the about page should be displayed in the route.
no, login was the part of our app component, which is the root.
No, but you told that there is some router outlet, right? So in router outlet, the new page will get loaded. The old page components will still be there.
No, those will be replaced. You can see,
But
right?
login was the Home, it's not home page. Okay.
Login is in our app page. You just see here. This is
If we had put login
app.component.
in the home page, it would have gone, right?
Yes, then it would have gone.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's save this. And now let's talk about how you can pass the parameters to the routers or the routes. All right. So for now, what we see here, if you click on this home, okay, it is just going to slash home and home is shown here. All right. If you click on about, on click of about, it is going to slash about and the actual content of the about.html is shown here. Right. Now let's suppose you have to pass some parameters as well. Okay. You want to pass some parameters along with the path. Okay, maybe slash some parameter, maybe some 123 or whatever it can be. All right. So where these are beneficial, let's suppose you are having an application called for a e-commerce application. Okay. Then what you want to do, you want to go to some all the products. Okay. You are having a page where all the products are shown. But once you click on one of the products, you want to navigate to that particular product. Okay, maybe products slash that particular product where you will be having some product ID. So this product ID will be passed on the basis of your click, on which of the products you click, on the basis of that it will be passed, right? So in this case, the parameters are useful. All right. So let me tell you how will you pass the parameters. So first of all, we will go to our app.routes where we will configure that my path can have some routes, some parameters, sorry. Okay. So what we have to do, we have to write path home slash what? Colon name of the parameter, like slash colon ID. All right. So slash colon ID means this route is always going to have one parameter. Okay. So once it is having some parameter, right? So what you have to do while clicking on that particular home button, this link, right? You have to pass that parameter as well. Otherwise, it will not be able to fetch it because this should match. This signature should match once you click on this. Okay, here, if you click on this home button or home link, it should match this signature home slash some ID. Okay, so that is why what you will be passing here, you can pass some ID from here, maybe 123 like this. Okay, so let's see if we go here and refresh. All right, so once I will click on this home, you can see it is now going to home slash 123 and you can see it is printing homeworks. If you go to about us, it is showing about works and it is not having any parameter. But if you click on home, it will go to home slash 123 now and it is showing the home.html page here. Okay, so basic thing is you have to just follow up the syntax. Okay, just like this syntax, same thing we are having this. Okay, if you do not pass this, if you do not have this, then what we are telling? We are telling when you are having slash home, right? Router link means slash home. Go. This is basically telling go to slash home. It will take the browser to slash home, but our configuration says when the path is home slash ID, then load the home component. Okay, so you will see that home component will not be loaded if I will click without passing any parameter here. Okay, let's save this and just see. Okay, why is it going directly there? Let me remove this. Yeah. So once I will click on about, it will work. About is working. But once I will click on this home, you can see some error is coming. In the console, a lot of errors are coming. Why? Because there is no matcher. You can see the some apply redirects dot no matcher cannot match any routes, right? Because there is no match for this route slash home, because instead of that you are having home slash something. There should be at least something present here in order to match this. All right. So that is why you have to definitely pass some value after the slash. Okay. Yeah. Now comes the question that how can we read this value in our component? Okay. So once you go here, you reach this page, you clicked on this, you got the home component, right? Home component is loaded. Now what you want to do, you want to actually read this component, this parameter, right? Why you are passing a parameter? Because you want to do, you can do some stuff, right? Once you click on the one of the products, you want to fetch the details of that product. You have to show the each and every detail of that product. For that you need that ID. Okay, so how you will read the parameter from the URL? Okay, so that you can do, I'll show you how you can do this. Where is it? Here. For that you are having something called as activated route. Okay, so what is activated route? Activated route is nothing but again a class from Angular slash router. Okay, so what activated route gives you? Activated route gives you the access to your current routing path. Okay, not only the path, the complete routing information it has. Okay, so what I did, I just created one constructor object. I created the object of activated route whose name is current route. All right, and then on ng on init. Okay, ng on init is what? It is the very first function which gets called when a component is loaded. Okay, ng on init, I am writing some stuff to read that parameter. Okay, and what is that? This is the concept of observables. Okay, so the concept of observables, actual concept I will be telling you in our next session, because our next session will be covering the observables. All right, so for now you can just see that what I am doing here, you can just get a little or the upper level idea that using the current route, right? Current route is what? It is object of our activated route dot params. Okay, dot params is the property which gives you the access to all the parameters in the URL. All right, so what I am doing, I am just reading that parameter and storing it into a local property, this dot parameter. Okay, so params is an array to which you have to pass the property like this. Okay, it's not actually the array, you can say it is the object which takes the key. What is this ID? This ID is nothing but which we passed here to our routes, colon ID, because this ID is nothing but this is the ID which will be holding the parameter, right? So that is what you were written here, params of ID, and I'm just printing it in the console, the same parameter. Okay, so that is what you will see here. Let's refresh. So once I will click on about us, nothing happens. If I click on this home, you can see this 1 2 3, right? And in the console you can see 1 2 3 is printed in your home.component.ts file at line number 24. Line number 24 is nothing but this one. Okay, so this is how you can read a parameter from the URL or the activated route. Okay, Okay, so I repeat this concept again. So what it says, if you want to pass some parameter or some information along with the route, all right, so you are having this app.component.html, right? If you look at the output, okay, so this, along with this link, you want to pass some information, some ID, okay, and you want to read that ID into the component which is loaded, right? You are telling in your routes that if path is something like this, if path matches this expression, then load the home component. Okay, now in this home component, if you want to read this ID, what is the ID? Then what you can do is you can make use of a concept in routing. Okay, and what is that concept? That concept is called as activated route. Okay, it's not the concept, actually I will say activated route is the way using which you can get the parameters. Okay, so then after that it is pretty simple. You have created an object of the activated route. From that activated route I am can find the parameters. Okay, so this syntax, you just don't get scared of looking at the syntax. Okay, so just get the idea that what we are doing, we are just iterating over the parameters, and then I am just getting the parameter which I want to get. Okay, not even iterating, I am just fetching the parameter whose name is ID. Okay, and then I'm just printing it. Simple. I'm not doing
Is
much.
params is a keyword here?
Which one?
Params.
Yes, this is, it is a keyword.
Okay. And subscribe is a function, is it?
Subscribe is a function, yes. This is actually the concept of called as observables. Okay, so observables we will cover in next session.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so don't worry about this subscribe, this params. All right, so if you see just have like this, what is it? It is arrow function. Okay, so subscribe is taking up an arrow function here, to which you are passing params as the argument. Okay, it is nothing but arrow function. All right, so there is nothing much to this. You will be understanding it pretty easily. Okay, I'm not telling because already we have seen a lot of syntax today. Activated route, router link, router outlet, how to create the routes, right? Route provider. All right, and if next session is going to cover HTTP and observables only. Okay, yeah. So now let's talk about something very simple, which is life cycle hooks of a component. Okay, so what is life cycle hooks? Life cycle hooks means what all things happens when a component is loaded. Okay, so today I will discuss only about the two functions which are ng on init and ng on destroy. Okay, I will talk about only two functions, ng on init and ng on destroy. All right, so you can see I have just written these two functions, ng on init and ng on destroy. These are inbuilt functions of any component. Every component has these functions, ng on init and ng on destroy, which gets automatically called on the need basis, not on the need basis, whenever their time happens, whenever they happens to be. All right, so to show this I have just written in each of these, in about component I have written both of them. Okay, so here also I just say one statement, console.log of, I say about component loaded. Okay, So what is ng-on-init? ng-on-init function means it is the very first function to get called when the component is loaded. When this about component is loaded, ng-on-init will get called. Okay, and when this about component will be unloaded. Unloaded means when some other component is loaded instead of this. So if I show you from here, if you click on this home component, home button, then home component will be loaded here, right? So what will happen? ng-on-init of home component will be called, right? And once you will click on about, what will happen? First of all, this home component content has to be unloaded, right? When it is unloaded, then ng-on-destroy will be called. Okay, so I've just written these statements console so that I can see them printing on the console of the browser. Similarly, in our home component, I am having these two, on init and on destroy. Okay, let's see now. Okay, so we will see. I will remove this and let's just clear this off. Okay, yeah. So for now it is clear because none of the component is loaded. Now first of all I will click on about us component. So as soon as I have a click on this about us, you can see it says about component loaded. Where is it written? It is written inside the ng-on-init of about component. Okay, still ng-on-destroy is not getting called because it is not printed, right? Why? Because this function is not yet called. When it will be called? It will be called once I will click on any other component. So if I'll click on home, like I click on this, you can see, you can first of all about component is destroyed. Once the about component is destroyed, after that home component is initialized. Okay, and when home component will be destroyed? Once you click on about component, once I click on about, you can see first of all home component is destroyed. After that about component is loaded. Okay, so these two are the, you can say, the first and last functions to be called inside a life cycle of a component. Okay, so life cycle means what all things happens within the lifespan of a component. Okay, so on init, what you guys can do, you can initiate some variables, you can assign some values, you can make some HTTP calls to fetch some data. All that stuff you can do in ng-on-init. Okay, and what you can do in on-destroy? On-destroy, you can delete or free the memories, right? You can just delete the variables from the memory. All that stuff or the garbage collection you can do in the ng-on-destroy. All right, so that is about the these two functions, ng-on-init and ng-on-destroy, from the lifecycle hooks of a component. Okay, so this is very pretty simple and I think easy to understand, right? What is ng-on-init and ng-on-destroy? All right, I just mentioned the correct names. Namita is asking, can we use JSP or Java with Angular in one web app? I will say Java is something for the backend. You can use Java for the backend, but yeah, you can use Angular in the front end. Okay, Angular is a completely front end framework. It has nothing to do with the backend code. JSP, JSP maybe you can, because I have never used GSP along with Angular. No, I never used. Because nowadays what happens is, now is the era where you are having loosely coupled applications, right? So what you have two things. First one is the client or the front end, which is running on the separate server or maybe in a separate machine. Then you are having a backend. Backend is the actual services code, maybe Java, PHP, Python, whatever, right? So now both of these are very loosely coupled. So front end is running somewhere else, backend is running somewhere else. Okay, so both of them are communicating via HTTP or whatever the medium, or we will say basically via web. Okay, now it's not the time where you have one bundled application, right? One complete bundled application you don't have nowadays. You are having loose coupling. Okay. Manjeshwar, what you wanted to ask, can we do CMS in Angular 2? What is the meaning of that? Manjeshwar, we can't hear you in case you are speaking. Content management system you can use if you have, you can use. But as we created our project using Angular CLI, we don't need actually the content management system. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is having some very old stuff. We don't need them now. Okay, let me see if something is left, or I think I covered most of the stuff. Yes. Yeah, so that's it from my side for today. If you guys have any questions, you can ask. Manjeshwar, I'm not getting your question. What do you want to ask really? Manjeshwar, are you typing something or maybe? Okay, in the meantime, if anyone else has any question. Atul, are you getting what is it about?
See, CMS content management system is system individual and the user make the changes in the view without any change in the code, as like a drag and drop facility is there in a WordPress. I
Okay.
think it is ask.
Okay. So for now, as of now, as Angular is also evolving, so I don't know. Maybe I don't think so. Anything is anything of that sort is given by Angular. I don't think so. Okay, so maybe in upcoming years, in a few years, when it will be evolving, it will when once it is stable and it has lot of traction, then maybe some other companies, maybe supporting or the supporting companies might come up with such a system, or maybe some other IDEs or other content management systems might give support to Angular 2 as well. But as of now, no. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, then what we will do, we'll stop here and we will meet.
I have a question, sir. If the backend is Java and the front end we are just using, how we can
Atul, your voice is breaking. Might be some internet issue. Can you please ping your question in the chat? Because I can't hear you. You can ping the question in the chat. Okay, so Atul wanted to ask, I have a Java application with AngularJS in the front end and how we can integrate both. All right, so as I told, in today's world, you have decoupled applications. Java or the backend is running on another server and front end is on another server, right? So what you do, you just make the connection via HTTP calls. Using HTTP, you make a call to some REST APIs, right? Which you have exposed in Java. Using that, you will communicate. I hope that was the question. Yes, like get and post. Just like in jQuery you do, or in any other framework. So same thing is here in Angular as well. Angular also has the implementation of HTTP. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what I do, I stop sharing my screen, and now we will see you guys on Monday. We will be talking about session number 14. Okay. All right, guys. See you. Have a good night and have a happy weekend as well.